What's going on, everyone? Jordan here, speaking to you from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I thought I'd come out here for a few weeks just to get away from the West, kind of, after the Christmas holidays, reintegrate myself back into Southeast Asia. And then from here, who knows where I'm going to go? Probably going to go to Vietnam, explore some new places. I haven't been to Da Nang before, so that's one of the places that is on the list this year, among other things. But I thought I'd bring my camera up here today on the 46th floor of this building that I'm staying at and do a video about the best places I feel digital nomads should be going to in 2024 in Southeast Asia. So the best places to live in Southeast Asia, whether you're a digital nomad, you're an expat, or if you just want to go traveling around. There's a lot of videos on this topic. There's a lot of blog articles and things like that. Most of the people that have experienced these countries haven't lived it in the same way as I have. So I feel like I'm going to be bringing a bit of a different perspective to this compared to a lot of other people. I'm very well prepared for the comments I'm going to get. So yeah, let's just jump into it. Now, number one is unfortunately not Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, even though I am here today. And the views right now, I'm going to put them on the screen, are absolutely beautiful. I'm going to get to Malaysia soon. It is on the list, but the first place, the best destination or the best country that I believe digital nomads and expats and travelers need to visit 100% and do your very best to live in is Thailand. Now, there's a lot of different places in Thailand that I could recommend. If you like island vibes, you can go to a place like Koh Samui, you can go to a place like Koh Phanang, Phuket. And you know, these places are all very popular, and over the last couple of years, a lot of nomads, a lot of expats, a lot of people just generally have been going to Thailand and attempting to live there, whether legally or illegally. Now, it's one of my favorite places to go in Southeast Asia, and I did live there just after COVID, after the lockdowns all finished in Australia. They finally allowed us to escape the country, and so Thailand was the very first place that I went. A friend of mine recommended to go there. I actually was going to go to the Philippines, but based on a recommendation from my friend, I went to Thailand. I chose Phuket, again from a recommendation from a friend, and I never looked back. I ended up going there initially for just a month, but I ended up staying there for almost an entire year. And at that time, I could actually continue to renew my visa. So I was able to do it. They had a very special COVID visa at the time. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. You can't go there now and just renew your visa willy-nilly like some of the other places on this list. But I would always recommend, if you can, to either open a business in Thailand so that you can get that residency. They've also got an elite visa, I believe at the time of this video, and from memory that it's 25,000 US dollars. So you can pay that to the government and you'll be able to stay in Thailand on a residency, and it's multi-entry as well. So you can do that for 5 years by paying 25K. Now, that's not something I was prepared to do, and it's not something I'm prepared to do at the moment because I just like traveling too much. I don't necessarily want to stay in Thailand for 5 years. But if you can get yourself there and you can experience it, you will absolutely love it. The food is amazing. And when I say food, I don't just mean Thai food. I mean any kind of food you want is available there. It's hygienic. It's just, I mean, it's an amazing place. There's so much shopping, there's so many restaurants, there's so much nightlife. Whatever you want, you can have it in Thailand. And just like I mentioned, there are some beachy places. There's also cities that you can go to as well. So my preferred destination in Thailand is Bangkok because I just love a city. But you have to go there, experience it for yourself. Some people like going to the rural places. It really depends on you. So Thailand is number one. Now, the second place that I think is the best place to live in Southeast Asia is the Philippines. The reason why I say that is because, well, you don't need to really worry about visas. You can actually stay there as long as you want. So that's one of the main reasons why the Philippines is so good. Obviously, don't play the system. Pay the money that you need to pay in order to stay there. Don't stay longer than what the stamp says. You're obviously going to get in trouble, but Philippines is relatively relaxed if you do overextend for any reason. I actually made that mistake just before going back to Australia for Christmas, and it was a really easy process. However, I did go and do it the week after I realized I had overextended. So if you overextend on purpose and you stay for months and months, I'm sure they're not going to be very happy. But the Philippines is a great country for you to go and live in, and it's a great country to travel because, again, you've got the cities like Manila and Cebu, but then you've also got the islands and the beachy side. And depending on where you like to live, whether you like the nightlife, whether you like the cities, whether you like quiet, whether you like beach, you can find all those things in the Philippines. it is very similar to Thailand in some aspects. And a lot of people compare Philippines to how Thailand was, a decade ago. And I believe that Philippines will become the next Thailand. You're going to get a lot of people moving there. And not just because it's very similar in terms of the environment and nature, but just because it's very easy to get around. The visa situation, like I mentioned, the people are very easy to get on with. If you have a business, particularly an online business, but really any business, you can hire Filipinos very easily. They speak English. Almost all of my staff are from the Philippines. It's allowed me to scale my business rapidly compared to if I was to hire people from in my home country. Now, my personal opinion, Manila is always somewhere that you should plant some roots. You should get some kind of base just because of the networks that you're going to be able to create there, particularly if you go at this time. Maybe in 10 years from now, it'll be far harder to establish the networks. But if you go in 2024 and you're a relatively outgoing person, you'll be able to meet all kinds of people, from celebrities, movie stars, government officials, big business owners, both Filipino or Filipina and Western. And so that's one of the big benefits of going there. You can really plant your roots and make it a base. Another great place is Cebu. You can check that out. Palawan's also a beautiful spot. You have Boracay as a bit of a party island. Siquijor is one that is on my list that I haven't been to, but I've heard it's fantastic. Bohol, the list goes on. It's very similar to Thailand in that you have absolutely everything, and I'd recommend that you go there and you spend a few months there, travel around and see what parts of the Philippines you like most. The third place on my list is Vietnam. Now, Vietnam is somewhere that I have spent a small amount of time in, and this was years ago, well before COVID, but I will be going there at some point in the future, possibly after Kuala Lumpur. The reason why Vietnam is such a great place to go is because it is going to be the next China in some ways. If you look at some of the geopolitical analysis from people like Peter Zeihan and some of these other big contenders, they think that China is actually on its way down. And there's a few reasons for that. I'm not going to get into this video, but it basically means a lot of their manufacturing and a lot of their infrastructure, a lot of their big industries is going to be transported to Vietnam because it's cheaper. And so these people, these big pundits, they believe that Vietnam is going to be the place to make a lot of money in the future. So that's one of the big reasons why Vietnam is a place that you should consider living in. You should consider traveling it and getting some base there, getting some roots and networking in that area. Although it is a communist country, they are very capitalist in some ways. They do promote small business owners and entrepreneurship. And if you go there, you won't think it's a communist country at all. It's actually quite mind-blowing to see how far that country has come over the last couple of decades. But beside all the economical stuff, if you are a digital nomad and you have an online business, perhaps none of that makes any difference to you. You just want a place that's nice, that's safe, that's cheap. And Vietnam has all those things. It's very safe, especially for Westerners. It's very cheap, especially for Westerners. And most of the environment of the country is beautiful. Again, just like the Philippines and Thailand, you've got cities like Saigon or Ho Chi Minh, as well as Hanoi. And then you've got more beachy areas like Nha Trang or Da Nang, which I intend to go and visit later on this year. But it pretty much has what you want, and it's also a very easy place for you to travel to. So Ho Chi Minh has connections to almost all of these other countries that I'm going to be speaking about on this video. And let's not forget the food. If you've ever had Vietnamese food, you'd know that it's something to rave about. Vietnam has some of the best food on the planet. Now, the fourth place on my list is actually Malaysia. This is where I am right now. I'm in Kuala Lumpur, and this city is absolutely unbelievable. If you've never visited, I would highly recommend it. It's connected to every other country on the planet. It's connected to every city that I've mentioned in this video, as well as many, many more. The KL airport is really well connected, so if you like living in a city, that makes it easy for you to travel from, KL is the place. Now, if you've traveled around Asia, especially Southeast Asia, you have probably realized that it is a developing region of the world. But KL sometimes makes me forget that because of all the infrastructure. There's a lot of construction happening, no doubt, and there is obviously a low income bracket in this country and in this city, just like almost every country or every city. But you'll find that there is also an element of wealth here. And some people would compare KL to a place like Singapore, which is a place that is very wealthy, very well developed, has all the infrastructure that you need, very hygienic, very clean. KL is going to become like Singapore in some ways, or at least that's what I think, that's my opinion. At some point, Malaysia is going to have to transition away from being a mass oil producer and invest in other industries. So they're going to be looking at probably allowing more people to immigrate to the country so that they can do that, they can get more skills. It's quite low populated, so immigration is going to be a big talking point over the next few years, I believe, for this country. So that gives you an opportunity to come to KL or to go to Malaysia and be able to set your roots here, network, make it a real base. There's some amazing restaurants, amazing nightlife, whatever you want is in this city. And another good thing is most people also speak English. They've got their own language, of course, but because they're so used to having a lot of tourists come to KL and to Malaysia, most people speak English very well. So you can actually come here, you can work, you can hire people if you need to, and you can live life normally. But Malaysia isn't just made up of KL. You've obviously got some beachy areas you can go to, like Langkawi and Penang. I haven't spent much time in those places because I do like cities, and I would always recommend that you check out KL first before you go to any of those places. And that brings me to my final destination, or my final country, which is Indonesia, and specifically Bali, although Jakarta is a close second depending on what you like. Now, Jakarta is a really cool place. I spent some time there when I was a sales rep working as an employee. I would be flown over to Jakarta to do presentations. I went to the embassy there to do presentations. It's a really big city. There's a lot going on, and I didn't explore even a small percentage of it. I stayed in the expat area when I visited, but Jakarta has left a little bit of a mark on my heart because of the nightlife. So if you like going out, Jakarta is one of the best places for you to check out. I know in the northern region of the city there's a lot going on, but unfortunately I didn't go there. Maybe in the future I'll be able to do a video on that and give you my opinion. But the infrastructure in Jakarta is really good. There is a lot of traffic, so that can put a lot of people off, but I know that they recently finished the construction of the train line there, but that will at least alleviate some of the traffic. But let's be honest, when it comes to Indonesia, almost everyone thinks of Bali, and so Bali is the #1 place in Indonesia that people are moving to, whether you're an expat or a digital nomad. You can't really compare Bali to anything else on the planet. It has got its own feel, it's got its own vibe and its own energy. I'm very familiar with Bali because having lived in Western Australia for such a long time, I would always travel over to Bali for a short holiday. So it's very well known to the Aussies. If you're from America or from Europe and you've never been to Bali, it is something out of this world. My personal opinion is that it's overcrowded now. The infrastructure is really bad. There's heaps and heaps of traffic, and so this has stained its reputation a little bit. It doesn't mean that Bali's not a great place. Tons of people moving there. There's tons of investment, tons of new businesses, and it's probably a great place to network, especially with other online business owners. But from my perspective, unless you're doing OnlyFans or you have just a very basic lifestyle business, it's not the best place for you to build a $1 million, multi-million dollar company. But if that's not on your agenda, that's okay, because some people just want to have an easy life, and Bali is definitely one of the places where you can have an easy life, and if you make good money, you can live like a king or a queen. So those are my top 5 places for digital nomads, expats and travelers to go and live in Southeast Asia. If you're interested in becoming a digital nomad, or you want to learn how you can make money online so that you can live in any of these countries for as long as you like whilst making good coin, check out the links in the description below. Join my digital nomad community and you can learn for free how you can start making money online so that you can travel the world and live an epic life. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you disagree with anything I've said, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.